In this set of try this problems, we're looking at a little more conceptual understanding of the chain rule. So these next two problems look a little confusing, and I remember being a student and being confused by them, but they're actually just like a puzzle, and so don't be intimidated, all right? And we want to find f prime of a, and we know that f of x is equal to, or big F of x is equal to little f of x to the sixth. So this is a function, and actually we have an inside function as well, so we're going to have to apply the chain rule. So let's go ahead and find f prime of x. So we know with the chain rule that we take the derivative of the outside function and we leave the inside function alone. And then we multiply times the derivative of the inside function, so we get 6x to the fifth. All right? Now we want to find f prime of a, and f prime of a means you're just plugging a in for the x. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now we have some given information above in this line right here, so let's see what we have. We have f prime of a to the sixth. Well, f prime of a to the sixth, we were told that it equals 8, so we can plug 8 in. And 6a to the fifth is 6 times a to the fifth is 2, so 6 times 2 is 12. So we have 8 times 12, which is 96. All right, now let's look at g prime of a. So g of x is equal to f of x to the sixth power. So again, we have a composite function. So g prime of x is what? The outside function is x to the sixth, so I can bring the 6 down, leave the f of x alone. That's to the fifth power. And now multiply times the derivative of the inside, so we get f prime of x. So let's see what we know. Let's g prime of a is equal to 6 times f of a to the fifth, and then times f prime of a. So we were given some information above. F of a is what? 2. So let's plug that in. So we get 6 times 2 to the fifth. And then f prime of a is 8. All right, so let's calculate that. And I get 1,536. All right, so that one was pretty easy, I think, actually, after you see how we go about doing that. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. In the next one, we want to find f prime of 9 and g prime of 9. So I'm going to go ahead and find the derivatives up top so that it's a little bit, so I save some room. So f prime of x, again, we have a composite function. You take the derivative of the outside and you leave the inside alone. And then you take the derivative of the inside. So multiply by f prime of x. And g prime of x is equal to, we have an outside function of x squared. So we bring the 2 down and we leave the inside alone. And then multiply it times the derivative of the inside. All right? Now we want to find f prime of 9 and g prime of 9. So let's go ahead and get started. F prime of 9, we know that f prime of x equals f prime of f of x times f prime of x. So let's go ahead and plug 9 in there, and we get f prime of 9 equals small f prime of small f of 9 times f prime of 9. And I believe they give us all of those values above, right? So f of 9 is equal to 15, and then f prime of 15 is equal to 6. So this portion right here is 6, and then f prime of 9 is equal, they give it to us here, that's equal to 9. So we multiply those together and we get 54. All right? So the next one says we want to find g prime of 9, and this one might be a little bit more tricky. And so g prime of 9, we go up here and we find that it equals 2 times big F of 9, and that's to the first power. That looks a little confusing. So to the first power times big F prime of 9. All right, and I go up to this list again and I look for anything that's given to us, and none of those values for big F are given. So we're going to have to look for those, right? So F prime of 9 we actually found in the last problem, didn't we? F prime of 9 was 54. So we have this number right here, 54. So I'm going to write it over here. So this is equal to, and we already know that this is 54. So we have to find the first part. And we were trying to find 2 times f of 9. And we look at our list and we don't have f of 9. So we're going to have to go all the way back up to the top here, to this section. And we're going to have to find f of 9. And we know f of x is equal to little f of x, right? So we know that we have to find this first part is 2 times little f of 9, like this, right? And so now we just have to find those values. Well, we know f of 9 is 15, so this becomes 2 times f of 15. And then we know that f of 15 is 3, so now we have 2 times 3 times 54, which equals 324.